Can the upcoming show Ahsoka save Star Wars? I have the answer. Hey everybody, welcome back to Echo Base Network. Can Ahsoka save Star Wars from dying? As you all know, we have to identify this problem. Star Wars has been on a rapid decline over the past several years. Ever since Disney purchased Lucasfilm, Star Wars has been going downhill. Whether you're talking about movies, shows, whatever, what have you, it doesn't matter. Star Wars is sick. Star Wars is not healthy. And now there's a brand new show coming out. We're going into uncharted territory with Dave Filoni helming the series. So before we get into Ahsoka and what they've got to do and what could happen, let's identify different ways that Star Wars is actually sick so we could all be on the same page here. Despite numerous TV shows and now movies in development, Star Wars seems to be running itself into the ground and destroying itself. In 2012, George Lucas sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, which paved the way for the sequel trilogy. I know that's a bad word. As of late, the franchise seems to be running out of steam. A variety of factors can be attributed to this, but Star Wars does not pack the same punch that it used to. Here are many of those factors. One factor, the sequel trilogy's reaction was not the best. While the sequel trilogy did have its moments, I guess, it is not well received as a whole by many fans. As a matter of fact, after The Force Awakens, that is when the decline began. The moment people put their eyes on The Last Jedi, Star Wars fans have been unhappy ever since. The sequel trilogy had an opportunity to bring back the original cast and put them together on screen. J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson couldn't even accomplish that. The trilogy suffers from terrible planning. It is clear that the franchise did not have a concrete plan for the entire trilogy, leaving it up to each individual director to put their stamp on the material. And that was a mistake, because those guys aren't George Lucas. Another indication that Star Wars is sick and unhealthy is their game plan for releasing films and how often it has changed. From the very first time that Bob Iger said, "We are suffering from Star Wars fatigue," and he hits the pause button on Star Wars movie productions. Now, they're unrolling all of these new plans because they're hopeful that Star Wars is in a better place, and it's not. The plans change so many times. Just go back and look at Kathy Kennedy at the investors meeting back a couple of years ago. Look at all the shows that was announced right there on stage in front of the whole world, and none of those things happened. That's shameful and embarrassing. Another problem with Star Wars is that the original trilogy was the peak. All due respect to you prequel trilogy fans, the original Star Wars trilogy was the peak of Star Wars, period. And that ended in 1983. Star Wars has never reached that height, and it never will again. And I can't assume or I can't expect Star Wars to ever go that high again, but we just have to identify the peak of the franchise is the original trilogy, George Lucas, 77 to 83, and that's it. Very similar to that problem, they also have a problem with characters, because no new characters can measure up to Luke, Han, and Leia. Ahsoka, Grogu, Mando, Bo-Katan, Rey, even if she's all of the Jedi, she can't hold a candle to Luke, Han, and Leia. It's simple. Another factor with Star Wars and its decline, more Star Wars releases, whether it be shows or a bunch of movies and everything that's come out in the last several years, does not make Star Wars special anymore. Now, everybody's not going to agree on this one, and I totally get it, because personally, if Star Wars is great, I'll eat it up. If they give us 100 different shows a year, if they're all Star Wars George Lucas standard, gold standard, then there is no such thing as Star Wars fatigue. We're getting too much. Man, I've got an insatiable appetite for great Star Wars, and I'm actually in starvation mode right now. So I don't really buy this one myself personally, but a lot of you certainly will. I see it in your comments, and that's why it's here now. Too much Star Wars doesn't make it special anymore. Just stop. And I respect that. Another factor with Star Wars decline is Disney Plus's struggles to get viewers for many of their Star Wars shows. I mean, just go look at it. The Book of Boba Fett, everybody hit the exit. Kenobi, most people hit the exit. Andor, good storytelling, maybe not all that entertaining, but and I know a lot of people liked it. No doubt about it. Not trying to insult you. I'm glad you liked it. But for a lot of fans, it just wasn't enough to pull you in and keep you there. And you could read that in all of their comments. The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 had me. Season 3, they lost me because it was bloody terrible. Another way that we can see that Star Wars is declining is that George Lucas is no longer involved with anything. And that one's really sad for me because he's the patriarch. He's the man that started it all. It was all his vision in his head. He put incredible teams together back in the original trilogy. Did he have some missteps? Sure. Are there continuity issues with George Lucas and his storytelling? Absolutely. Is it perfect? No. But it's the best thing we've ever had. And once he sold it to Disney, it's never been the same without George. And the last indication that Star Wars is sick and in need of saving is that it has tough competition with many other franchises today. Whether it be the upcoming Nintendo universe with Super Mario, whether it be John Wick, the MCU, the DCEU, Mission Impossible, whatever it is, Star Wars has a lot more competition, and it's not used to competition. Because back in my day, son, Star Wars was so high, there was no competition. That was my old man voice. I apologize. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Star Wars was in a league of its own. It no longer is. And it no longer is because of Disney, because of Kathleen Kennedy's failed regime. Period. That's it. So can Ahsoka save this franchise that I love, that you love? I don't know if it can or not, but it needs to. I like Ahsoka. I like a lot of the characters. I enjoyed Rebels. I like, for the most part, I think, the Mandoverse and the setting of The Mandalorian. But they're really going to have to bring it and create some momentum once again for Star Wars, because quite honestly, I don't feel that we've had it since Chapter 16 in The Mandalorian. When Luke Skywalker showed up, we were all at our high. We were all riding high in that moment. It literally broke the internet. Grown men like me was crying, sobbing, manly, emotional, happy tears. It was amazing. It was something that we didn't think we'd ever see again, because Disney hasn't shown us the ability to take characters of the old and honor them now. I mean, they just don't do that. And they actually did it with Chapter 16 in The Mandalorian with Luke Skywalker, and they got it right. And Luke Skywalker is Star Wars for so many Star Wars fans. So if you're going to save Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Ahsoka has to be great. It can't be good. It can't be average. It has to be great. I hope the show is great. Do I have faith that it's going to be great? No, I don't. And here's why. Because confidence comes from demonstrated ability. And Disney has not demonstrated the ability to give us great show after great show. In fact, they've given us the exact opposite. Do I want to see Star Wars saved? Do I want to see Star Wars rescued? Yes. Do I want to see it return to glory? Yes. Make Star Wars great again 2024. And to do that, you have to make content that the fans will appreciate and get behind. And to be able to do that, you've got to do it with the absence of Disney woke agenda and politics. There's your recipe. Great characters, great stories, give it to us, keep all the garbage out, keep all the messaging out, and give us our entertainment. Hold true to the continuity. Don't create new things to confuse everybody and get everybody fighting and arguing. Is Sabine going to be a Jedi? I hope not. I don't want to see Sabine using the Force. Nothing I ever saw before makes me think that she can do that. That's just me. That's one of my things. But even if that happens, that doesn't mean that Ahsoka is going to be a bad show. I'm just telling you, for me, I've not given up on Star Wars. I still have a Star Wars channel. Nick is still here with me doing this Star Wars channel. We started this channel to have a place to talk about it with you. So comment and let us know what you think. Can Ahsoka save Star Wars? I know a lot of you have checked out, and I get it, and I respect it, and it's dead to you. And the only way Star Wars will ever be fixed is if it literally burns to the ground and they have to sell it to someone else. And even though I'm not a fan of Disney in any regard, I hope that Disney learns their lessons and actually, slides over a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And maybe get kind of in the middle and make movies without the messaging and make movies for everybody. That would be great. And that could really help Star Wars and its future. And if you get people that know Star Wars making great Star Wars, we might have great Star Wars again. And this is Dave Filoni's first time at bat in the live-action stadium. Let's see what he does. I'm going to click play on August 23rd. I'm going to watch. I'm going to take it all in, and I'm going to report back, and I'm going to let you know. But the Dave Filoni trial begins August 23rd. Dave, this is a very important time for not only you, it's much bigger than you. It's about Star Wars and its future. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments. See you on the next one.